Sujoy Ghosh, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you, Vishal. Good to see you.
Sujoy, first, many congratulations for delivering an edge of a seat thriller with Jaane Jaan. Rarely we come across a film that compels the viewer to devote his full attention to the film. It's a gripping thriller that really deserves to be rewatched. So to start with, how the world is responding to the film and what are the most meaningful feedback that you have got for Jaane Jaan?
See, it has been good. It has been really good. And I think, like all my previous films, most of the time, my film has worked because audiences has taken over. They have taken over and looked after the film. I make the film, but they look after the film. So that way, even similarly with Jaane Jaan, that's exactly what happened. It was a little slow start, but then it kind of word of mouth, and it spread quite nicely. And I think the meaningful feedback, anyone who has seen the film through the Vishal, like how you were saying, they were completely invested in the film. They enjoyed the film. They discussed the film.
Yes.
They were just the other day, it was very nice to hear. Apparently, there's a librarian society. ठीक है, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे librarians होते हैं, very book loving people, and they were discussing how it was nice to see the protagonist of a film or the hero of the film who's inclined towards a certain academics.
Yes.
We have seen people who are champions in cricket, football, but rarely we tackle things like maths, chemistry, physics, academics thing. And they said it was refreshing to see, which is something I never thought in that line. I never thought in that line, ke apna hero is in academics. But those are nice things, good feedback.
So, Sujay, then which scenes, according to you, were the most challenging to crack on the script level?
All of them, Vishal, all of them, because each when you write a scene, the components of a scene are incredibly important. Each component important, and sometimes you have to start long back to justify to you, for example, my audience, why that thing happens. In fact, we were discussing this another few days back. And like, for example, there was a scene where a bit of action takes place between Kareena and her ex-husband. And I had to put a water heater there. Because the whole crux of the matter is a coil water heater, is immersion heater. But my thing is, how do I put, that was the most toughest part for me in that whole scene. How do I put a water heater in that scene? How does it suddenly appear? How does it play such a crucial role in the way it is in the film? So I had to start from scene one. I had to start writing it from scene one. Ke Kareena dekhti hai ke this girl has left the water heater in the toilet. Then she comes out, says this. So, you have to keep building it. The stitching is very important when you write any scene for that matter.
In Kahani, there was this love story brewing between Vidya Balan and Rana that's played by Parambrata Chattopadhyay. Here in Jaane Jaan also, we saw Naren Vyas, that's the character played by Jaideep Ahlawat, have feelings towards Maya, played by Kareena Kapoor. Why themes of doom love stories or love stories with sort of open ending fascinates you a lot?
Yeah. Very, very, very. It's surprising you say that, because, like that's one of the reason I fell in love with the book, because I was fresh off Kahani that time, even you were there. So, and somebody gave me this book, Devotion of Suspect X. And I love doomed love story, Vishal. I love the fact that somebody can, I'm always in awe of people who can love like that, without any expectations. एक तरफा जो प्यार होता है, जो मेरे से कभी नहीं होगा. And I attempted like you rightly say, that kind of a doomed love story between Rana and Vidya in Kahani. And then I got this book in which there was a doomed love story, which was much more fascinating, much more complicated, much more mind-numbing, and all kinds of things, which was a bigger version of Rana and Vidya. And I loved it. That's why I just saw a love story in that book. I never saw murder mystery. I never saw it as a thriller. For me, it was always a love story.
Then, who is Naren's real love is? Is it Maya or maths?
I think that Naren, somewhere it got shifted for him. I think a lot of shift had to was due to a certain amount of gratefulness, plus the fact he genuinely felt for Maya. But I think eventually he went back to mathematics.
The screenplay of the film is so tight. Karan Verma, that's played by Vijay. Karan is played by Vijay Verma. Sees Maya as his only suspect. Arrange that Jaideep Rawat, who keep providing how accurate he is with his logic skills, as he's always one step ahead of Karan. On the set, which scenes gave you a lot of anxiety? Do you think the ones which had all the three actors in it?
No, not those. No, because the greatest things about these three actors that I had, they were extremely easy to work with, very easy to work with. So there's no kind of stress as such, and they work, especially Jaideep, Vijay, and Kareena with them. They work very organically. So I just tell them, "Ke bhaiya mujhe ye chahiye." This is the thing, and then they perform what they do best. Acting. And then I do. So there was never any stress as such, but sometimes the only stress you get is कि light जा रहा है, सूरज जा रहा है, सूरज जा रहा है, सूरज आ रहा है, सूरज आ रहा है. These are the only two things which creates problem in your life. कि sun is setting, sun is rising. ये छोड़ के कुछ stress नहीं है life में.
So then, do you like to guide your actors, or you like to observe them performing and then decide?
I think for the first take, we all do what we do best. Because we are all seeing it for the first time. When we do the first take, we're all, because till then everything was on paper. Okay. When we do the first take, I also know, okay, have I written it properly? Obik knows whether he has lit it up properly, whether it's looking right. So that first take is we let everybody do whatever they want. At least I do. Uske baad, then you see where you can change.
So then, you've been directing film for the last 20 years now. Generally, what you tell your actors, or what kind of conversations you have with them that you think work as the most helpful tool when they're approaching a scene?
I think the best thing is if you can provide them with a reference.
Okay.
The emotional reference. See, because most of the time we are dealing with emotions within a scene, within any scene. At least I am dealing with either anger or suspicion or love or hate or jealousy or happiness, all various kind of emotions that come through. And if I can, wherever possible, give them a cue in to, how that emotion I am seeing, what does that kind of, like if you say love, there can be various ways of love. You can be in love with your best friend, you're in love with your let's say your girlfriend, but you also love your mother, you also love your sister, you also love your teacher. So the various kind of love, so you have to cue them into what is it exactly that you're looking for, and that helps. I mean,
so then what you told Amitabh Bachchan while working on Aladdin or on Badla to get him?
But sir, you don't say, yeah, what do I tell sir? I just give him the lines and what I've written, and then we just work together. And the greatest thing about sir is he just rehearses. He has so much energy, like he has more energy than the whole set put together. So sir rehearses a lot. And when he's rehearsing, you know where you're going, right? And then when he performs it on camera, you're just mesmerized. So, but if there is a change, then I would definitely tell him. I would definitely tell sir, okay, this is, maybe I want an emphasis on this word, maybe, you know.
Sure.
But
sure.
then, yeah.
So this is your third film, which is a murder mystery. In
Ah.
Hani, it was Vidya Balan. In Badla, it was Tapsi Pannu. And in Jaane Jaan, it's Kareena Kapoor. Is it just a coincidence that in all your three films, the woman is the center character and who turns out to be the killer? Why female leads in your film is always the killer?
I don't know, man. I just realized this. तूने बोला तो मुझे realize. I have to ask these people this thing, Okay, why are you all the killers? So I don't know. They all, women. They kill us with their love, man. So
then whom do you think is the most dangerous killer out of the three?
Hands down, Naina Sethi.
Yeah, Tapsi.
Yeah.
Not Vidya?
No, because I think Vidya Bakshi, her intentions were different.
Okay.
Her reasons were different. Her same with Maya. So I think Vidya and Maya were different people, but Naina is another league of her own. So she's like,
sure. There was a lot of hype around Kareena Kapoor's OTT debut.
Gee.
So was she your first choice always for this role? And was it an instant yes by Kareena when she signed the film?
Initially, when we were doing the film, there were other casts, other things happened, but then the movie was went into hibernation for about 8 years, and then we rebooted the whole thing. Then yes, it was Kareena from day one. It was Kareena from day one, and she's a very script-oriented girl. Like that. No matter how well she knows you, or how close she is to you, or how I think even if it was a best friend who gave her ask her to do a film, she would always want to read a script. And that's what happened here also. So she asked me for a script. I gave her the script. She read the script and she said, I'm on. It was as... but having said that, I have given her some 900 million scripts before, which she has rejected.
Okay.
Okay.
Sujoy, everyone is talking about Jaideep Ahlawa's brilliant performance in the film. Is he the one who surprised you the most? And are we going to see him in future in your projects?
I knew it was a strong role on paper, but all put together, Jaideep has like, hard. So, yeah, Jaideep is a tremendously good actor, performer, whatever you choose to call. And I remember when we were first, I gave him the script and I told him, look, you're the hero of my film. He just didn't believe it. But yeah, he outshone what was on paper.
Your 2019 film Badla was a remake of the Spanish thriller The Invincible. Jaane Jaan is adapted from The Devotion of Suspect S, which is a Japanese bestseller. Although one was a film and this is a novel. But which are the boxes that you think need to be ticked when you're adapting a book or a movie?
Sensibilities. Like even when I did Badla, I was given the screenplay. So for me, it was a book. Even when I did Jaane Jaan, it's a book, because I read because they had procured the official rights to the screenplay. So I read the screenplay and I was amazed by the screenplay. But that was a Spanish film, वो किसी को समझ भी नहीं आता इधर. So then I had to make it within the Indian sensibility while staying true to the core of the writing, and so I changed Naina Sethi as an Indian businesswoman. I changed Badal Gupta, who is an Indian lawyer who quotes from Mahabharata, so to make it a little more palatable for my audience, because I serve the Hindi speaking audience first and foremost, and then the rest of India. So for me, it was very important that they identify with the characters. So this identification is very necessary, Vishal. Like no matter when you adapting it, the characters needs to be identified within our society, within our milieu. तो आपको वो देख के लगे कि हाँ, ये I know this woman could be that woman, that man could be this man. It's important.
You just mentioned that he quote from Mahabharata. You also made a short film called Ahilya, which was from a story from Ramayana. What is it about mythology and Ramayana and Mahabharata that fascinates you? Or what do you find in them that generally we don't see?
Stories, filled with stories, like I could live off or live on or live in Mahabharata and Ramayana. There's so much story, there's so much, and each story has something to teach. They're very story oriented. Like when you read their stories, and fascinating stories, people going inside people's stomach, ripping it open, coming out. So which are like stuff which are superhero stuff are made of.
Like who from Mahabharata, given a choice to make a film?
There's so many to pick, even if you look at that whole the childhood of Lord Krishna, there's so many stories, there's so many stories to tell, straight from his birth to going to all those assassins coming, trying to kill him, from him to going back to Mathura, killing Kans. I mean, that's massive, stories. And within these stories, you have little subplots, which are great. Even when the Pandavas were in exiles, there were so many things to learn, which I put a lot in Badla.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's fascinating story, man. And also, what the greatest thing about Ramayana and Mahabharata is, you use the principles and the ideas, the politics, the thinking, and how, for example, at what point do you employ what? I mean, at what point did Yudhishthir have to actually lie and say things? Why do you do it? What makes one person do it? What is the need? Why did when they asked Karn to join the Pandavas, why he didn't? What was the principle? What was his righteousness to say, no, Duryodhan, stood by me, therefore I'll fight for him. I will not fight for you. So that kind of righteousness, that kind of sense of what is right, what is wrong, that's what fascinates me. Here's a man who could have fought for the Pandavas. He said no, because this man stood by me when nobody stood by me, and I will fight for him. So these are the things which are very inspiring, which are very makes you feel good about life.
Your debut film Jhankaar Beats was released exactly 20 years ago in 2003. That film still entertains us like it did in 2000.
No, it entertains you, Vishal. No, it only entertains you. You are the only sole existence of Jhankaar.
No, it's so good. So how do you look at Jhankaar Beats now after so many years?
I love that film. That film, I am because of that film. If that film didn't happen, I wouldn't be sitting here and you wouldn't be interviewing me. So yes, a lot. And Jhankaar Beats is a lot of life as I have seen it. A lot of happiness, ups and downs as I have seen it, and I think it was a great film, and more than that, it was a great journey to make the film. I came from nowhere and to make that film, and the journey that I had to undertake to make that film was amazing, and I learned, and hence I guess I survived 20 years.
Also, the music of Jhankaar Beats is pure gold. Do you miss having songs in your film?
Sometimes I do, but I don't think they're needed now. I'm not sure. I think there's certain style of movie you have to make to incorporate songs, which unfortunately I'm not making. But yes, I do miss songs in a film. I do. I would love to go back and do a musical again, but script to chahiye na.
If there's a sequel made on Jaane Jaan, do you think Karan will find out the truth behind Ajit's death? And do you see Naren and Bob Biswas coming together for an assignment?
The latter I don't know, but Karan, yeah, he should find out if there's. Yeah, he should. I have a feeling Karan knows, and he just let it go. That's my, but I could be wrong. What do I know?
You know everything. Created it. But Sujoy, you of course have raised the bar. We have huge expectations from you. Thank you so much for your time and best of luck.
Hey, thank you, Vishal. Thank you so much.